I mean, this has been an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
So what I want to do is I just want to open the question
Sure.
to our viewers, to the
Sure.
ones that are listening.
Sure.
If you're listening, man, if you have any questions for Dr. Badjie, you can just raise your hands and I will accept you to speak.
Sure.
Do I accept? Okay, added as a speaker. Yes, Fatima, I think we can hear you now. Your mic is on mute.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Badjie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Fatima?
I'm fine, thank you. My question is, with regards to when, you know, MCA made the publications, I think Innovarx did before MCA, right?
Correct.
Yes. So, how were you able to maneuver the situation? Because I know it was really frustrating, and being a good leader comes with a lot of responsibilities as well. So how were you able to maneuver the situation?
No, I think that's an excellent question. And without going too much into the details, I think one of the skills that every leader should have is knowing how to manage crisis. And I think you always need to see crisis from a perspective of how not you as a leader feels in the moment, but how the people that you serve might be affected by it. And I think that is very, very centered because entrepreneurship is not easy. Most people, that may be the first time they maybe even heard about my name or a challenge that I faced. But the journey of Innovarx in Gambia started in 2014. So since 2014 is when we registered in Gambia. We did not open until 2019. And as recent as 2022, I had to sit for an examination before I could even be a pharmacist in the Gambia. So there's been a journey to it. But if you start any initiative thinking that it's going to be smooth sailing, then you shouldn't start the enterprise. So I think being able to manage your emotions, for one, because it's easy to feel hurt, feel disappointed in the moment, which we're human. You want to acknowledge those feelings. But you also have to snap back and lead in that moment, knowing that your team depends on you, your family depends on you, and most importantly, your patients depend on you. And as I was mentioning to Gando, Gambia is not why we started. It's just where we wanted to start. So we've always kept that perspective. And what I told my staff when we reopened was that now is the time that we double down on excellence and show people why we exist, but also not bu ñu rusloo ñu ñu taxawal ak ñu ñu sigil in that moment where we needed it the most. And that's our frame of mind right now. Internally, that's all the things we're doing right now is how could we actually do things better now for the people and not cry or lick our wounds. Yeah, disappointment, sure, but also a lot of people showed us that they care about the work that we do in the Gambia. So our way of repaying them is to actually improve everything that we do, try to make it better, but also thank a lot of our leaders in the country that oftentimes don't get credit for stepping in and leading in situations where people are affected. And I think a lot of the progress that we've made so far, it's not over yet, but crisis management, communicating and remembering and focusing on the mission, why you exist, and not everything else that's temporary that you might be going through.
That was a good answer, Dr. Badjie. Anyone else? Fatima, I hope that you are satisfied with that answer. If there's anything else you want to ask, we have him currently. He's kidnapped. So. See, two people have requested to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, so this is Sunkar. First of all, I want to thank Ismail for sharing his perspectives on his experience there. It takes a lot of courage to do what he does, and is a source of inspiration for many of us in the Gambian ecosystem. One of the things that you touched on that I think doesn't get enough attention is the fact that, as a very young country, we have a lot of young people who are going through our colonial education system, the curriculum of which I don't think has changed considerably in terms of the kind of entrepreneurial skills that you describe as necessary to move the country to where it should be. And I think for someone who is outside of the public sector, how do you, I know you and Fadi do some work with sort of like coaching people, but I feel like we need a lot more of that, which is why I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing, and you're continuing to inspire us. But how do we change our curriculum? We have this YX system that we're supposed to do across the whole region, but the challenges that we have in Gambia is that I don't know that the curriculum has actually changed to ensure that those 800,000 people in the basic system are going to have a different formal instruction than the older generation that we seem to have written off.
No, that's an excellent question, Dr. Sunkara. Thank you so much for everything, the support, the inspiration as well too, and the amount of times you contribute to the development of the Gambia without being in the Gambia physically, which I think I should mention is a model as well to participate in development. Mm-hmm. Even these days that it's really dusty, every time I walk outside, I say thank you, Dr. Ture, for the air quality work that he's doing in the Gambia, that I think more people should pay attention to things like that that's happening. Your question is interesting. I think Honorable Claudia Cole has a hard, very difficult job that she doesn't have a lot of credit for. The school system is going to take some time to reimagine, re-engineer, and I think her intentions are there. I think we as a society, the three tenets that I talked about, at home and the society, cannot leave the 800,000 people just in the hands of the school system. Most of us, our education started at home. Even if you're a business savvy individual, you probably learned a trade from your mom, which I did. I'm a pharmacist, but my mom is a second generation business owner who my grandmother used to sell tie and dye at Albert Market, Banjul. My mom took over the business. That's really where my business educated. So anybody who knows Aja Fatim Menga of Afdai, who knows Hadindong, my mom, is not surprised that I'm in business. So while I was studying science in school, I was traveling with my mom in China, New York, negotiating prices, understanding market value, create how to deal with customers. That was part of my educational system. And my mom doesn't have a college degree. So I think if we understand that we have a problem that is going to take a while to solve it, now us as parents in the Gambia should not mortgage away the education of our children to a school system that we know may be flawed based on the outcomes that it's providing.
Right.
But if every parent, for example, make sure your summers now, they're doing some kind of skill training. You're putting them in programs. You're sending them to go shadow certain businesses. And the society is willing to take on a lot of people who you could nurture them at a very young age. The school system will give them some aspect of their education. But as a society, we'll start educating our young children. That's the short-term solution, Dr. Ture, that I think about would work. That's why the benefit of having businesses, companies, young leaders who are also willing to sacrifice their time to participate in human development. So, because we cannot be everywhere at the same time, because as you know, running an institution is extremely difficult. But at the same time, too, the ethos of doing business is not rooted in human development in the Gambia yet. And it has to be a focus of all of us, young and old business leaders, having a component of why you exist to be development at all levels. But I think the education system, we have to have a three-party system, three stakeholders: home, school, and society. School will provide the schooling for whatever it's worth. But I think even as a parent, most of us that are parents, by the time our kids are 5, 6, 7, we start seeing their gifts, what they're really good at. We need to take over the reins at that point and cultivate their gifts very early, because I think that's how you build very wholesome individuals. And that's what a lot of societies actually are doing with their kids. School is only whatever hours you're at school, but after school programs, you exposing into different things. Sometimes just traveling with your children is education.
Yeah.
Right? So there's just a lot of things that we'll collectively have to do. That way we also don't sit back and react to what's not working for us without participating in a solution to make it a little bit better. So for every school curriculum that is flawed, we have access to books that we could make our children read.
Yeah.
As a parent, you could teach them about Timbuktu, teach them about the kingdoms at home. That is education, right? So active parenthood is important. Participating in observing and shaping their outlook, their mental health, safeguarding that is important. And then the arithmetic, trigonometry, whatever that they get from school is still useful.
Yeah.
But let's just not mortgage entirely away to the school system.
Agreed. I mean, we had Uncle Tuff here. He said Gambia needs skill centers. We don't have enough of skill centers in the country. And if we look at it, it shows that we don't have enough skilled individuals in the country. And I guess that would be a good way to start moving.
Yeah.
Try to get skill centers.
People are importing skills.
Yeah, which is
Think about
unfortunate.
a population that is so young.
Yeah.
And most business people that require skills have to import skills.
It should be unacceptable.
Right.
It should be unacceptable.
So